Music and Booze with Mo is produced and distributed by EatsDrinksTV, a service of the Center for Culinary Culture, home of the Cocktail Collection, and First Reel Entertainment, and is available wherever fine podcasts can be heard. The Center for Culinary Culture, telling the story of food and drink, one taste at a time. Welcome to Music and Booze with Mo. I'm Mo Herms, and I've worked in the music industry most of my life, so have met some pretty amazing musicians over the years. I also love a good cocktail, and I've encountered some really interesting bartenders as well. It seems that there's a lot of crossover, so when I can, I like to talk to musicians and bartenders about music and booze. Join us at the bar, won't you? Music and Booze with Mo is brought to you by The Mermaid, a cozy neighborhood bar with an aquatic flair in the Little Tokyo area of downtown LA. Open 7 days a week, featuring tropical cocktails and snacks, The Mermaid also has a daily happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. Follow The Mermaid on Instagram at TheMermaidLA to hear about upcoming events and check them out at themermaidla.com. Head to 428 East 2nd Street, Los Angeles, for a drink. Welcome to Mo's Tropical Summer. As any regular listener knows, every summer I get to talk with people from all over the world, actually, who work or own bars with a bit of a tropical bent to them, and this summer is no exception. So sit back and relax, mix yourself a drink that has lots of fruit juices, rums, and maybe even an umbrella, and enjoy tropical summer. We are back in the noisy bars of Los Angeles for this interview with Erica Luera, who is the bar lead over at Anaheim, California's Strongwater. If you haven't checked it out, it is one of the best cocktail bars in the country, and I'm not exaggerating by saying that. They are continually nominated for James Beard Awards, and who knows, maybe by the time you hear this, they will have won one. But it's a special place, it's a beautiful place, the drinks are incredible, and Erica has a long history not only in tiki, because she went to the legendary Bahuka in Rosemead when she was a kid. It's been around since the late 60s, I found out. We debate that in the interview. And she also fell in love, especially during the pandemic, with crafting these kind of cocktails on her own, and went from dive bars to very, very crafty kind of stuff. So listen to us shout at each other at a lovely spot in Los Angeles while we talk to Erica about her journey into bartending, playing violin, and oh so much more.
Amazing. Okay. Hello, my name is Erica Luera. I'm the lead bartender at Strongwater Anaheim.
That's pretty good. How long have you been doing that?
I've been lead bartender for about a year and a half now. I've been working there for a little over 3 years.
Wow, that's a long time to be at one spot, especially, in the bartending industry. When did you start bartending?
Just shy of a decade, honestly.
Oh, wow. And what kind of places were you at when you first started? This is always the fun part. I love to hear this.
Oh my God. So
the embarrassing ones.
It's embarrassing. So you're saying
But you learned from it.
Yes. So I've been at Strongwater a while, but I'm kind of a serial monogamist in that way where I'll stick with a spot until I'm good and tired of her. Yeah. So
Sometimes the love fades.
the love fades, and sometimes it fades quick. So I started off at my first bartending gig as a host when I was 19. I was behind that bar when I was 20. Yeah.
I guess they didn't check.
No, they did not check.
So we won't name any names then.
Not naming names. No. Good San Gabriel Valley mom and pop spot.
So it was a mom and pop spot. Was it a small bar that you were behind?
It was small. It was definitely a dive. Kind of like a sports bar for sure, but locally owned. More of a venue.
Okay.
I came to that spot with family first because they would book a lot of music gigs there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Your family was playing at this place?
Yeah, family would play there.
So you were sort of family within the space anyway.
It was an easy hire. I had no industry experience, but they were like, "Oh, bring her on as a host. She can do the trick." And then I ended up running the place by the time I was 23.
So what do you mean by running the place? You were the manager and you were still working behind the bar and you were a host?
Title-wise, I was not like general manager or anything, but they would leave me the keys. I would open the place. It would be me and one line cook. And I would be there till 4 p.m. Everyone knew who I was, and I would get shit done.
Yeah. That's amazing. So when you were there, what were some of the first drinks that you were learning how to make? Because you had never bartended before, right?
Never bartended. And I mean, I think that's why I learned like speed there, which is something that really can't be taught. You just have to be in it. So definite Jack and Coke bar. If you want to get fancy, a Sailor and Coke bar.
Well, but I mean, there has to be, I would assume, even at bars like that, there's always at least one person that comes in maybe a night that's like, "Oh, can you make me a this?" And they try to throw out some fancy drink.
I learned how to make a perfect martini.
Oh. Do you still think it's the perfect martini?
I know that it's called that classically, but I don't think that it's by any standard. No. But then that's something I kind of trick my new kids with. I'm like, "Do you know what makes a perfect martini?" They're like, "Oh, stir to 30 revolutions." No, baby. It's in like the OG bartending books. It's like you use sweet vermouth and dry vermouth. And it's with gin.
So that's the thing.
Yeah, it would be some old timer trying to like get me.
Someone has to try to challenge you.
Someone has to challenge me, and it's usually like an 80-year-old man.
They're like, "Oh, there's a beautiful woman behind the bar. How can I mess with her?"
Let me get her.
I'm sure that won you many fans. So how long so you did that? Well, actually, you did that for a couple of years. If you were 23 when you were running the place.
Yeah, I was there for most of my career, and I saw it go through many iterations, going from a dive bar to changing its identity to like a speed craft bar.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's a big shift.
It is.
In kind of a short period of time.
Change of ownership, yeah. New ownership wants to come in, shake things up, and I was someone that they couldn't afford to lose. So, yeah, I'm someone that they trained in like the new ways. Liquid Intelligence was behind the bar at that point.
Wow.
All the Death and Co books. New management taught me the classics done right, I guess.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of amazing that happened.
It was kind of amazing. But it didn't last for long.
Did they just go under, or was it just that
it was
people weren't buying what you guys were trying to sell?
I hate to be the person to be like, "Oh, it was all about me," but once I saw, I'm talking to you about intention and whatnot the other night. Once I saw that their intent wasn't the best, I jumped ship.
Okay, that's
the
fair.
rest of the staff followed suit.
Well, I mean, that's amazing you got that education out of it, but if it wasn't a fit culture-wise,
100%.
you don't have to stay there. There are a lot of bars in the city.
Yes.
You can find something that's maybe a bit of a better fit, right?
It was time to go.
Yeah. Well, you spent a good chunk of time there, and that's nice that you got that education. So then what happened? Where did you go after that?
Pandemic happened.
Oh, God. So you were bartending at home for yourself or your friends?
Bartending at home, yes.
Yeah.
And like most people bartending at home, they bought the Smuggler's Cookbook.
Yep.
They leaned into tiki. I had this newfound knowledge behind me, and I was like, okay, how do I apply this? What do I do with this? And there were still, because this was in, I'm just going to say Glendora in the San Gabriel Valley, there were bars that were still running.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I could definitely jump to another dive, or I can go the corporate route. So I took a gig with Anheuser-Busch.
Oh, really?
I started working for the man, yeah.
Well, you know what though? There's a whole different set of lessons to be learned there.
Yes.
So you were doing that during the pandemic.
During the pandemic, yes.
So if you're working for Anheuser-Busch, this means you're working for one of many different beer companies, potentially. Were you studying the Smuggler's Handbook at home?
I was.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you were looking at Smugglers. When did tiki creep into your life?
So my dad had a job at Bahuka in Rosemead growing up.
Oh, no way!
Yes. In high school. That was one of his first jobs. And went to Rosemead High, so it was across the street from him. And it was kind of like a family institution for us.
You guys would just go there and have
We would go there, yeah.
Mai Tais and spaghetti
Yeah.
and ribs.
Yeah, we'd share like a non-alcoholic bowl and it
Right.
would come on fire.
Remember they had that bar in the back that had the turtles?
Yes,
Oh,
yes. I was
place
so
is so
scared
amazing.
of that fish, that big fish.
Oh, Rufus!
I didn't know he had a name. I just knew he was my enemy from my
Where you
youth,
see him
yeah.
eating carrots and you thought he's going to eat my finger off
I
or
was
something?
like, this is not okay. I've never seen a fish eat anything but flakes. Why
Why is he eating
is this
vegetables?
happening? Yeah.
What kind of fish is this?
So tiki had always scared me, but what scares me, I'm drawn to. So I'm like, okay, this is fun.
So tiki for you is Bahuka,
Yes.
which, I mean, God, how long was Bahuka around? It was,
Bahuka closed in 2012.
yeah, close
Yes.
to 2012. I'm trying to think of when it opened, because I know it had been around for
I'm
a
gonna say
couple,
like
I want to say 2 generations at least.
I would say definitely the 80s.
I feel like it opened before that. I don't know.
Before?
I really honestly don't
Okay.
know. It was around for quite a few years, a couple decades at least.
Good while.
And it was like family run, but I always laughed because I'm like, it's a place where I remember there was a drink on the menu that I didn't even notice until I took a picture of the menu to send to my brother who was living in New York and was missing his tiki cocktails. And he's like, you have to have the drink that has the passion juice in it. And I'm like, you mean passion fruit juice? He goes, no, it just says passion juice.
I'm into that.
Because
Give me
there
that
was a
passion
typo
juice,
on
yeah.
the menu.
No.
And that's how it was.
Yeah.
You could get something there that had the juice of passion, apparently, in the drink, and a side of ribs. And I was always a fan.
And that's what I'm about. I knew that was my brand from a young age. Like, juice of passion and meat? Come on. That's who I am.
Yeah, that's kind of my family as well. So Bahuka kind of gave you a little bit of tiki, but then
100%.
you got why did you get the Smuggler's Cookbook?
I would think back like, okay, I want to be out of the pandemic vibes. I want to be immersed in something.
So it was
I
like
want to be taken
liquid-
away from this. Yeah.
Liquid escapism.
Yeah, exactly. So I knew that was the standard. I'd seen the book around for years. I knew it had its James Beard Award. So yeah, that was my reference. Just picked it up off Amazon and started working through it. Started building my bar, making things from home. Yeah, and then my first bar when I was 21 was Trader Sam's.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, that's such a special place.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, and especially probably up until the pandemic, it was like an incredible craft cocktail bar. And something that gets discussed a lot on this podcast in my world is how tiki cocktails were the first craft cocktails.
100%.
Because they were blending spirits. There were so many ingredients in it. So Trader Sam's is such a special place because those bartenders came from great backgrounds, so they knew how to make classics, they knew how to make great cocktails, but then they're making these tiki drinks too. It was so much fun to hang out there, like right up till then.
Yeah.
So
And I
you're
remember like that feeling as a child going into Bahuka, translated into, okay, this is my first alcoholic, my my scorpion bowl of a drink. And yeah, I was like, I think tiki's the way, I think this is what I want to get into.
So during your Anheuser-Busch years, what were you doing for them?
I was an on-premise and off-premise merchandiser for them. So
Oh, wow.
I had my accounts that I would hit. A lot of them were my old bars, that, like or
cool.
my old stomping grounds. Yeah. And so I'd go check in with them because everyone was doing cocktails to go, beers to go.
Yeah.
People would support local bars rather than liquor stores.
Yeah.
And on the other side of that coin, I was building beer displays, in supermarkets. So I would start work some days.
I'm a little bit jealous. That sounds kind of fun.
It was kind of cool. I would build tanks in Superiors and Northgates.
Like out of the cardboard cutout
Exactly,
things.
exactly.
Oh my God, I love it.
And 30 packs themselves. And I did get really ripped. I was very I was pretty hot, Mo.
You're hot right now.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank
You're
you.
very hot, but I get
With,
you're like, I was just more
muscle,
toned, right?
A little more muscle. Yeah. And I had free beer to give away to people that I love. So, yeah.
That's kind of a bonus when you're doing stuff like that.
Exactly.
So how long did that last?
I gave it one good year because I was like, okay, I can either move up the ranks here and be like a supervisor
Yeah.
and sell out and go this corporate route, or I can just get back in and get like ugly behind the bar and do what I care about.
Yeah.
So I got back into it.
Well, I think I love that you were embracing this creative side of yourself at this point.
Yeah.
And were you feeling that kind of coming on before the pandemic hit, when you were, like when the liquid intelligence courses happened
yeah.
behind the bar, where you're like, oh my God, this is my jam, I'm learning so much.
Yeah, because I mean, working that dive bar, it was kind of means to an end at that point.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up watching Coyote Ugly. I'm like, yeah, I'm like the hot dive bar bartender.
Yeah.
I can do this. I can make a quick buck. But getting that additional training, additional knowledge, I was like, oh, I want to learn more from this. I care about flavor pairings all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I want to know more about spirits. I don't want to just serve people Malibu and Sprite.
Yeah. Oh God.
I have a bottle of real McCoy behind my bar that I don't ever get to pour. Why do I want to sell that now? That sort of thing.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, real McCoy.
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Exactly.
So wonderful. So then, when you decided to get back in, you didn't jump into Strongwater right away, did you? Because you've been there for a bit.
I did jump into
You
Strongwater
did.
right away.
So now Strongwater,
Yeah.
for anyone who listens who is uninitiated, is a James Beard nominee multiple times at this point.
Two-time finalists.
Yeah, they've been awarded many accolades, let's say, over the years. So coming from what you were doing and getting into Strongwater, what was that like for you? I mean, did you have to audition?
I did have to audition.
Yeah.
It was the closest to Miss America I think I'll ever get. And I didn't expect it, but I knew that I wanted it. So this was around the time where no indoor service was happening. I got to go and sit out on their shoreside patio.
That tiny little patio that they have,
Exactly. And
I love that they still have it, though, honestly.
we still have it, and it's one of my favorite features of Strongwater, to be honest, because it's held on since the pandemic.
Yeah.
And that was my first experience.
To me, it's a survival patio. Like, it was there because they had to do it, and it's still there because we made it. You know, that kind of vibe.
Exactly that. But I went there, I ordered a 3 dots and a dash because out of the Smuggler's Cove book, that was something that I really wanted to try. So my first 3 dots was at Strongwater, and it's been my standard ever since. So I started as a fan, and I would just kind of view them online. At that time, they still had like their cocktail specs online, so I would recreate what they had posted. And then I saw that they were hiring, and I was like, you know, what could it hurt? I'm gonna go in. My resume at this point is not very impressive, but I really care. I think I'm impressive. I'm gonna show up.
Yeah.
And I remember that day I slept in. I kind of lagged it, and and I walk up to this folding table, and I meet who I know now to be the owner, my boss, Ying, out there in a mask, just greeting people herself, which I think is so impressive, so crazy.
Yeah.
Not many restaurants run that way.
Yeah.
But she set me up with the bar manager. I had a really good interview, and they invited me to stage later that week. Getting behind that bar for the first time, seeing them pre-shift, seeing how tight that ship ran, was something I'd never experienced before.
Yeah.
Coming straight from a dive into that, I was terrified. But I was terrified.
But you were terrified, but you kind of loved it?
Yeah. If you don't walk into your job, sorry.
If you walked in and you're like, this place means business.
Yes,
This is the real shit right now.
Yeah. But like my saying, I'm sorry if this is a family show, but I'm like,
No, it's
walk
not a
into
family
your
show.
gig.
The swearing happens all over the place.
If you do not walk into your gig with your asshole clenched, it's not for you. You're not growing.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
I love that.
You
That's
should
amazing.
be terrified walking into what you are doing because it means that you want it.
Yeah.
So that was the first time that I really experienced that. And I knew that I had to be a part of it. And they brought me on.
Oh, that's so amazing. So they brought you on, and cut to a year and a half later, and now you're the
Lead bartender. Yeah.
lead bartender there. So what does that entail at Strongwater? Because I know once upon a time, the decisions for new drinks, all of this was very much Robert handling that, at least in the beginning days. But you guys have such an amazing team of people that work there. I'm assuming that's shifted somewhat. What is your role there these days?
I mean, presently I do submit cocktails. This past menu, I was lucky enough to have 3 added to the menu. Yeah, our menu is very solidified in terms that we have a lot of good tiki classics, we have modernized classics, and we have a very core group of Strongwater originals, all that our owners put on the menu. So it's not very often that we add to it seasonally. Maybe 1 or 2 will shift, but to have 3 on the menu right now, I feel super lucky. It was a good creative season for me. Yeah.
Well, I think we were talking before, and I always ask this. It seems like a good place to put it.
Yes.
You've named drinks after songs or song lyrics, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So rattle some of those off because I love hearing about it. You tell me a little bit about the drink, tell me the song, all of that business.
Okay. None of these are presently on the Strongwater menu, but drinks of the past.
But they've happened.
They've happened, yeah. One of my favorites is Naughty Girls Need Love Too. And we were talking about Midori, you and I was like, oh, this is so good. So many applications you could do with that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of my favorite, like, Madonna era 80s songs. Naughty Girls Need Love Too. And I did a Ramos rendition with a fair amount of Midori. I did that one with an agricole. I forget which agricole. It might have just been like Jam Blanc at that point.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and I was like super into rosewater at the time. So yeah, I
love it.
All of my drinks tend to be very feminine.
I love the florals in drink stuff, like orange blossom water, jasmine. Yes. Can you put that in there?
It can get overpowering very quickly.
I know, you have to be really careful with that stuff.
Churro, you said churro's very fun.
I love churro. Yeah, I can always tell when it's in a drink, but I love it, so I don't care.
Exactly. Shag party at Arizona Tiki Oasis, and it was called Two Most Wanted. It was after a Beyonce song, very sapphic Western love song.
Nice.
And that one had churro in it. Yep.
Hey, see, we're
it.
on the vibe. We're on the vibe.
Yes.
I love that you do that. You mentioned when you were talking about that first place that you worked, which shall remain unnamed, that members of your family performed there?
Yes.
So what's that all about?
My uncle and his band used to perform there.
What kind of band was it?
I guess I would call them like dad rock at this point, which is like good classic rock.
They're like covering Led Zeppelin and stuff, yeah.
It was a venue for cover bands, but it was like a local hub where people would go, associate, watch their homies play music, and that was fun for me.
That's awesome. That's perfect for that kind of space, though.
Yeah.
Was your family a musical one?
My family is super musical. My dad grew up playing bass. He was in his own band. I grew up playing guitar. I am a classically trained violinist. I haven't played in many years, but...
So classically trained violinist, when did you start playing? How old are you?
I started playing when I was 8.
Did you want to, or was it just assigned to you? When you're that age, go either way.
Well, I had a choice at that point. I wasn't into viola. I did not want to play upright bass, but it was through school. That was when like music programs had a lot of funding.
That's awesome.
Yes. So I chose the violin, and I got kind of good at it.
What did you love about it?
I loved learning to read music because it was something it looked really impossible on paper, but getting the flow of that and getting comfortable with it. When your fingers would start flying, like when your bow was rosin just right, I was like, oh, I'm kind of good. When you make the fiddle sing, it's a little different than when you're just playing Ode to Joy.
You think about violin and how easily it goes wrong.
Yes.
You know, very traditionally, you'll see a TV show or whatever, and it'll be the little kid is upstairs practicing violin, and everyone downstairs is like, oh God, make it stop.
It was like that for my family for a good while, but I kept at it.
Yeah. So what, did you have aspirations, or did it just make you happy?
No.
You like one day?
No. There were many opportunities when my violin instructor would be like, okay, you're going to go play with like this local orchestra, and you have to dress really nice, and I would opt out. I would be like, I'm sorry, I don't want to do that. I'm a brat, Mo. Like, whenever you tell me I have to do something, I'm just like, I'm no longer interested.
Your urge is to read,
yes.
like, just say no.
I have to do this out of my own want and volition.
Well then, with you and violin, was it something that was for you? Did you listen to violinists? Were you listening to classical music?
Yes.
Because you were studying it, or was it something you liked before?
It was something that I liked before, for sure. It's something that I needed to focus, like if I was studying or doing schoolwork, it's something that I would have in the background.
Yeah.
So it came naturally to me when selecting my instrument.
Yeah. That's amazing. So when did you start playing guitar?
I started playing guitar when I was in 6th grade.
Why?
Because I was obsessed with Nirvana. And I was like, okay, I could do this chord progression. I can do this. Guitar Hero came out. It was a very popular. Yes.
Guitar Hero was so much fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
And then when I was like, okay, I'm playing on expert level, but I can't really translate this to a musical instrument, I got annoyed. So I was like, yeah, let me do this in person. Exactly.
That's so funny because I started playing guitar when I was like 8, and I was little, and the only songs I knew that had guitar was, I'd mentioned to you, like Outlaw Country that my mom listened to all the time, and like the Beatles, some Beatles songs. So I'd like plunk away at these little Beatles songs. Then when I was in college, it was the 90s, so I was picking up like these bands that would be like acoustic versions of stuff, and I'd just sit in my bedroom and be like, oh, I just got dumped, and then I would plunk away and try to teach myself the most basic versions of some of these sad grunge songs from that period of time. So I guess we were around the same time.
I always play guitar when I get dumped or when I go through a breakup too. So right now, girl, it's me and that guitar. Heartbreak, bring out that 6-string, yeah.
So, what, like, when you guys were growing up, what was the music in your house? You grew up in the East, like East LA, with San Gabriel Valley. That's like way east and everything, Inland Empire almost.
Yeah, my family's from Boyle Heights. We settled in Alhambra. I grew up listening to everything. Grew up listening to Edie Gourmet and Los Panchos. My grandparents loved Sade growing up.
Oh my God, I love that.
Yes.
I love that your grandparents were hip enough
They
to
were
love
so
that.
big into Sade, Shaka Khan, the OJs.
Oh my God, your grandparents were cool.
I'm very close to my grandparents, yeah. My mom was super into ska growing up, so...
Oh, really?
Yes. It was a lot of Hepcat, the Specials, obviously No Doubt was a big part of my upbringing. I knew who Gwen Stefani was before I knew who our president was. But yeah, what else? My dad grew up raising me on classic rock.
Yeah.
Van Halen was his jam.
Well, Van Halen were Pasadena.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where those boys are, Filipino boys from Pasadena.
Yeah.
Go figure.
There is this legend that I know it's true, but it's a local legend. Van Halen did play in my grandparents' backyard before they got famous in Rosemead.
Really?
Yes.
That's amazing.
It
I'm sure
happened.
that really happened. They were probably like in high school or something.
They
right?
were in high school. It did happen. But yeah, Rolling Stones, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings.
So what were you listening to then? You had all that, but obviously you started playing violin, and then you were playing guitar. You were kind of grungy by then. When you were a kid, what were you loving? I mean, if you latched onto classical music, I didn't hear any of that in that mix there.
No, none of that.
Was that you being rebellious?
That was me being rebellious, yes.
You're being rebellious by listening to classical music?
Kind of.
It is the first punk rock.
It is. I mean, when I had like the option to choose, I would listen to like the Spice Girls. I loved Aaliyah. I loved Destiny's Child.
Yeah.
I was into pop as well.
Well, you have to be. I think I remember talking to someone and they said that pop survives because of teenage girls. And then the teenage boys want attention from teenage girls, so they get into pop as well, so they have something to talk about.
Yes.
And there it goes. So I'm not sure how true that is today, because I feel like all the genres, everything's so mixed now.
I know so many little fuckboys that are into Doja Cat because they can't get them a girlfriend. Yeah. Yes.
I have a friend, his son is way into Doja Cat, and I'm just like, wow, I never would have predicted this for him, but I'm very proud of him.
I understand it, yeah.
He's like 19 years old, and she's like his favorite. And I'm like, cool, I think that's cool. I'm totally into it. So you don't really play that much music right now, only for yourself at home.
I'm sorry?
You only play music for yourself at home now.
I do,
Not
yes.
playing out there in the world. Now your world is much more focused on your bartending and getting yourself out there.
Entirely focused on that, yeah.
Yeah, totally. So you've been in Strongwater now for a couple of years, but you're stepping out. I know you've been, so what trajectory are you trying to set for yourself right now in this world? And is it in the tiki world or is it anything? Because you've been in tiki for a couple of years now and you have a soft spot for it.
Yes. I do see the rest of my career being at least 1 foot into tiki. There was a time when I stepped away from Strongwater for about 6 months, and I went and I helped open up a spot in Sonoma County called Kapu.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
called Kapu.
R.I.P. Kapu.
R.I.P. Kapu, yes. And that's kind of what was the nail in the coffin for me, to where I was like, I love this community. I don't want to leave it. And that being because it was definitely an underdog bar. It was something that I would have liked to see grow a lot more. And losing that spot and all my bar family up there, I just feel like it's in me now to go and visit the same kind of underdog places all around the country, show them some love, bring them into the community a little bit more. And yeah, I do see the rest of my career being tiki focused.
And what is it about that community that has drawn you in like this? Because, I mean, obviously you fell in love with it through the drinks first. Well, I shouldn't even say that, because you were going to Bahuka. So that was kind of the environment.
Yes.
Because it certainly wasn't the drinks or the food at Bahuka.
No, it's not. Most of the time it never is.
Yeah, that's true.
For me, it's the people. For me, it's the dedication, the passion, the willingness for a person to want to go to a small spot in Kansas City just because they know it's there and they want to see it, they want to check it out.
Yeah.
I appreciate that type of love and devotion, especially when it comes to a bar community.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, bars are, let me say this, anyone who listens to podcasts knows that I say it all the time, it's always that third space, the bar, right? Strongwater it's made itself a third space, but it's an elevated third space. Because first off, it's small, so you need to make reservations to go there. So you can't just wander in off the street.
No.
But Tiki T is also small, and there's always a line outside of people waiting to get in there.
Exactly.
But they both, when you get in, offer a really unique experience. They're totally friendly, accommodating, beautiful, and all of that. Strongwater is so impressive every time I go there.
Thank you.
I've never had a bad drink.
Thank you.
Never. Even if it's something I think is not going to be up my alley, still not into it. And right now you guys are currently a finalist again, right? For what is the category?
The category is outstanding wine and other bars.
Okay. Like
So we're
the category is.
Yes, category is outstanding wine.
Yes. So up for that again. I was telling Robert, who's one of the owners, I'm like, I kind of don't want you guys to win. I want you to keep getting nominated every year.
Say that. No.
I know, it'd be great if you won. But if you got nominated every year for like a decade. People are just like, this place. Obviously, it's great.
Yes.
If you won, that's great, but you have to get nominated again the next year.
It's true.
That's all. And I'm just so proud of you guys for have built this up. How many years has Strongwater been open now?
About 5 years.
I was going to say it's like 5
November
or 6 years.
2019 was when we opened.
Yeah. And just to have gotten this far so quickly, with the pandemic in the middle of all that.
It happened quick. It was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, but in bigger terms, yeah, it was quick.
Yeah, and it's amazing. So a question I always ask is, when you have some downtime, when you're chilling out at home, what are you sipping on? What are you listening to?
Okay. I'm a Martinique rum type of girl, and the apple of my eye these days has been Rum JM Jardin Fruité. It is a very lush, beautiful, feminine Martinique expression. I believe it's from the north side of the island of Martinique, so the terroir really comes through in terms of like lush botanical notes. It sips like a cocktail all on its own. Yeah.
So everything they put
all
out
on its own. Yeah. So if I make a tea punch out of that, it is very like bright and feminine. You still get some of that oakiness, but not enough to tone down the grassy nature of the Martinique.
It's that rum in particular would be really bright. So what are you listening to while you're sipping on that tea?
What am I listening to? Honestly, probably Twin Temple these days. I'm so stuck on Twin Temple.
That's amazing. I love that.
I think their category is called like satanic doo-wop, so it's still very like happy retro, but with notes of Satan's a woman.
I was going to say, we were talking earlier about the whole like woman behind the bar, woman in tiki, the whole feminist side of things, and I have a feeling when you're over at Strongwater, that is just such a storied place now in such a short period of time, that those kind of things don't necessarily pop up and bother you as they might, like, say, at the dive bar.
Yes. Once in a while. You'll get a tiki head that's like, so what do you drink? And I'll be like, oh, it's this spirit. And they're like, oh, not a cocktail?
Yeah,
no, a spirit.
You're like, I actually know things. That's why I'm here. Well, that's amazing. I love that. So I will leave it there. And if you want to throw out any social media or anything so people can find you, find out. I mean, you'll be going to Chicago soon for a little visit.
Next week, yeah.
You may be winding up. You've been on the competition circuit a little bit as a judge.
As a judge, yes.
As a judge, yeah. So you might pop up in somebody's town. So if people want to know what you're up to, is there a public social media or anything that they can find you at? Or should they find you at Strongwater?
Yeah, my
Where do you want to
social media is Erica Luera. Just my first and last name. You can also find me through Strongwater Anaheim on Instagram.
There you go. Easy enough. Well, thank you so much. It was so fun to talk to you about all of this.
Is sex appeal a deadly poison? I'm in the mood for distraction. Don't be afraid of my pretty weapon. Tell me what is so sinister about a woman.
I am so lucky to have Erica Luera in my neighborhood, so I can visit with her anytime, but I hope that you enjoyed that noisy, booze-fueled visit with her here on the podcast. Find her on Instagram at Erica Luera, Luera. Look up Strongwater as well. If you find yourself anywhere near Disneyland, then you will be near Strongwater. You need a reservation to check it out. Follow her Instagram to see if she's doing any pop-ups in your area, or maybe judging a cocktail contest. You never know for sure, because she's done all of the above. So follow her, and thanks for tuning in today. Also, there is an equally witchy as Erica playlist that she's prepared for you, and go over to the Music and Booze on Spotify page in order to check that out. It's got the best title ever, Tiki, Vampire, Feral, Femme Fatale. You know you want some of that. Thank you for tuning in to our barroom chats on Music and Booze with Mo. For more info about today's guest, or if you want to connect with me, check out my Facebook page, Mo Herms. Please subscribe to the podcast and feel free to tell all your friends about it. While you're there, Give the show a rating and a review. It really helps to get the word out. If you want to hear the playlists our guests have curated, search She Be Mo on Spotify, SHEBMO. Find pictures of the interviewees and the cool stuff they create on the Music and Booze with Mo Instagram account. Lower your expectations and join us at the bar. Till next time, cheers.